If you're not using AI in your work, you're missing out. And there's no better time to start than right now. AI is changing financial crime. Criminals are using it to move faster, hide better, and automate more. Most compliance teams are still stuck in Excel, writing reports in Word, and publishing policies in PDFs. But what does AI actually mean for compliance people? Is it just hype? A thing you took a course on and left at that? Or can tools like Microsoft Copilot or ChatGPT really help you with your day-to-day work? Today I'll break it down for you. We're not going to talk about AI in theory, we're going to talk about what you can use right now. So here I have 6 practical ways ChatGPT can help compliance teams today. And it doesn't matter whether you're specifically in AML, risk audit, or any other field, AI isn't going to replace compliance professionals, but compliance professionals who use AI, they'll replace the ones who don't. I'm Kevin. I've been in risk and compliance for over 15 years. From head of audit in banking in New York to chief risk and compliance officer at a fintech in Europe. I've dealt with the pain points and I've learned what really works to both stay compliant and on top of the risk. Now let's get into the practical stuff. The ways I've personally used AI to save time and boost impact in my compliance work. So here I have 6 practical ways ChatGPT can help compliance teams today. Summarizing regulation. So you get handed a 300-page document from a regulator. Or there's a heavy new enforcement action by the New York DFS you want to understand and use to make things better in your bank. So say you have 48 hours to make sense of it before presenting it to the management or the board. So with ChatGPT, you can ask it to summarize by section, you can ask what the changes are compared to an older version, or you can translate legalese into plain English for business leaders. One way to do this is to ask for a 3-tier summary. So you can have 2 lines of high-level summary, 3 key takeaways, and then suggested impact for your compliance program. So I did this extensively to summarize trends and areas of priority in a recent board meeting. Even though I made minor adjustments and added some personal reflections and points as well, I would say my use of AI definitely contributed to 80-85% of my presentation, and that's a huge time saver. Just make sure you actually skim through whatever it is that you're summarizing to make sure it's accurate. I've experienced that it's better to copy and paste actual text into ChatGPT rather than posting a link and asking it to summarize. I'm not entirely sure why, but sometimes it can summarize something else than the link that you've actually posted. Regulation comparison made easy. So are you trying to compare GDPR with CCPA or DORA with NIS2? Well, you can just ask, what are the 5 key similarities and 3 major differences between those regulations? Or you can ask, summarize how this impacts a company with under $100 million in revenue. Or list what a supplier must do to comply with GDPR, CCPA, or DORA. This is super helpful when dealing with multinational policies, or if you're an international firm with presence in multiple jurisdictions. But again, AI can hallucinate, so it can sometimes make up examples and regulations that sound true and accurate, even if that's not the case. So always have a basic understanding yourself. Use your judgment and verify sources, especially when citing regulations or legal guidance. You can and maybe should ask ChatGPT about the accuracy of the information that is given you as well. Usually it's pretty honest. Drafting or refining compliance policies. So, do you have a messy policy draft or are you starting from scratch? You can try this. Refine this policy for tone and clarity, keep it professional but readable. Or rewrite this policy for an internal audience of non compliance staff. Or make this policy sound like it was written by a Big Four consultant. My favorite, though, is to use all of the above and then write it in the simplest way possible such that a 12-year-old would understand. You can also localize policies. So, for instance, if your company has Microsoft Copilot, you can just write, adapt this travel and expense policy to include a Europe-based team. So I did this extensively with the use of Copilot when using the info in our procurement policy to make how-to guides for management who thought a 4-page document in plain English was too wordy. So Copilot even suggested images, icons, and font colors to make it increase comprehension. generating control descriptions or test plans. I just want to point out, do not put any internal or confidential company information into a public AI model like ChatGPT. Either your company has implemented an AI like Copilot already, and in that case, check to see if there's any restrictions to use this in your company and make use of Copilot accordingly. Or there's no AI model in your company yet. The good news is you can still use ChatGPT for a lot. Just make sure you remove anything confidential and remove your company name or any other identifiable information from the text you're pasting into the model. In most cases, you can do a lot on public AI models without giving away any confidential information. But of course, use your sound judgment and stay within your company guidelines. Now let's get into the practical stuff, generating control descriptions or test plans. So when designing new controls or setting up a new process, ChatGPT can help by suggesting example controls by risk type. It could help structure a control testing checklist or draft control descriptions for reporting or audit. For example, you can just write in, give me 5 examples of detective controls for third-party onboarding in fintech. So I was tasked with performing compliance testing for a regulation that I previously had no experience with. With the use of ChatGPT, I was not only able to quickly learn the most important elements of that regulation, but also design a comprehensive testing plan that I was able to extract without giving away any company information. I just used what I got from AI, copied this into Excel, and then added and refined in the testing plan with the relevant company internal information. But just remember, AI is not a decision maker. You're still accountable. So treat whatever AI gives you as suggestions and use your judgment and experience to make all the decisions. Level up your risk register. So you can feed in a messy risk register and ask ChatGPT or Copilot to categorize risks consistently, rewrite risk statements for clarity, or suggest potential controls. You can also ask it to score risks based on probability and consequence and provide justification. You obviously still own the final call, but it gets the thinking started. And oftentimes, you just need a little push, and AI provides that in abundance. You can also use AI to build training content. So training doesn't have to be boring. Use AI to generate realistic case studies based on the latest real world cases or create relevant quizzes to test learning. You can also rewrite policies into conversational scripts for a training video. For instance, you can put in, create a 10-question quiz based on our company anti-bribery policy and include answers. So now, if you're watching this on your computer, just go to ChatGPT and try it out for yourself. So if you're just getting started, here are a few tips to make AI work for you. So one, you should start with the small tasks. Use it for email drafts, ask it to format policies into bullet points, summarize meeting notes, or board updates. Also, you should start building your prompt library. So AI models use whatever you write to it or prompts to give information back to you. So be as detailed as possible and use time writing out these prompts. Because the better the prompts you give it, the better your answers back will be. And then save prompts that work well. Again, always review before you copy paste. So always apply your professional judgment. The goal is not automation, it's acceleration. The goal is for you to be more efficient and do the work that creates most value for you and your company. Spend less time comparing and summarizing, and more time finding out the steps you and your company need to be able to comply. One thing though is use the right version. If you're using ChatGPT Plus, which has a monthly fee, make sure you're on GPT. Is better with reasoning, tone, and multi-step tasks. And if your company has Copilot implemented already, you should have this version already. Also set guidelines for team use. You should decide what you're comfortable using AI for, what prompts are allowed, and what data can and cannot be entered. Consider a policy just for AI use, especially if your company touches regulated industries. But why does this matter for compliance? Because compliance is information heavy, documentation heavy, and often painfully slow. And as compliance people, we know a lot. We can assess the impact of regulation on our business. We know the company culture and how the company really works. And we find and offer ways to comply with what needs complying with. ChatGPT definitely does not know all of these things, and that's where the gains in value lies, because AI will not replace you, but you should use AI to help you and free up time so you can focus on the important tasks. Think of it as getting your own junior assistant to do much of the legwork for you. You might not want to pass on that work without going over it, but most of the time it's pretty decent with some minor adjustments. So just to wrap it up, the future of compliance isn't AI, it's you and AI. So AI isn't going to replace compliance professionals. But compliance professionals who use AI will replace the ones who don't. You don't need to become a prompt engineer. You just need to treat tools like ChatGPT as a multiplier. Start small, test it out, build your workflow, and share what works with your team. If you want to see a walkthrough of real prompts and examples, let me know in the comments below. I might do a full video on just that. Please subscribe. I'm Kevin. Thanks.